Hey everyone, Jared Nelson here, behind the wall, Jared Nelson Training. This is a supercharged version of my amateur to pro presentation. Now, this is just a short, 20 minutes, half an hour max run through of something that will become a course and will be a form of training, but it's really a brain dump of my ideas on how you can switch from amateur thinking to professional thinking. And I think that this concept is so important in your journey to finding your dream job and actually being a professional at it, not just being in the crowd. Just stay with us, and I would love it if you could subscribe to the channel and like the video and even share it with your friends, because this is the way we get this good content out to other people. A little bit about the history of Behind the Wall and what we're about. I guess we started in the live events industry. We started with musicians and young people that wanted to be in the live events industry. Very small industry, recently affected by COVID-19. So, job opportunities there right now as of this moment are quite small, but in the future they'll be back there. And it's a resilient industry and it's a creative industry, and it will find a way to re-emerge. But the ideas behind the courses that I did run face to face were how do you take some people that had a different opinion of what professionalism was, which might have been just to earn money or to be famous, and teach them that they're probably thinking a little bit amateuristic about their goals for professionalism and really understanding what professionalism. So I tried to take people from amateur to pro thinking in under 2 weeks through intensive training camps or work experience courses, to really get people to understand that a job's more than a job. A job is who you are and how you interact with the people around you and what you learn every day and what you share with other people. So we're going to run through the acronym for amateur, and this will help us outline and understand what an amateur person is. And then we're going to run through the acronym for professional, and that'll really delve into some of the key attributes and skills that a professional has. And then at the end of it, we could just kind of reset ourselves and re-evaluate and set a higher standard. As Tony Robbins always says, is like set yourself a higher standard than what everyone else around you is setting for you. Raise your bar a little bit. So the acronym for amateur, so starting with A, people that are amateurs have ability. They manage, they are pretty average, they're in the middle of the pack. They're technically minded, so they've got the understanding of their industry and their job. They make excuses rather than finding a way, and we'll go a bit deeper into that. They're untidy in their approaches, their processes, their communications, their organisation, and they're reactive. They kind of have things happen to them and then they provide a behaviour to the world based on what is coming at them. Ability, let's have a look a bit more at that. An amateur person has ability. This person can play the game, they can follow the rules. If you look at any amateur sportsman or anyone in your workplace, even left and right of you, and you can say, yeah, that person rocks up to work. I may or may not know their exact KPI or their exact amount of work that they're meant to achieve, but I know that they're probably doing just enough. They've got ability, they get the job done. No one's really complaining about it, but no one's really rewarding them. Now, do you want to be that person that just glides through, or do you want to be the one that's overachieving, doing more than what your ability is every year, and then getting the real rewards for that? Along with being able to do the job, play the game, follow the rules, they have the basics. They have the basics for arriving to work. They have the basics for completing their job, to not raise red flags with their employers or their, the peers around them, and they have the basics in that they bring in an income. The next part of the acronym is manage. They do just enough to get the job done, and what that means is that they're probably, once again, not pushing themselves. An amateur may feel like they're competing towards a professional level, but if you stay amateur your whole life, it's probably because you're not pushing yourself. You're not training as hard, or you're not putting in the extracurricular hours that the real professionals, and they seldom apply initiative and critical thinking. Now, what this means is like thinking outside the box, going, what is the cutting edge? What can I do to not just manage my role or manage to stay in the bunch of amateurs? How can I really break out? How can I really become a professional? So amateurs just manage, they get by, they don't apply the initiative, they don't think critically. they're average. So most amateurs, and I guess we're talking about the average of the world is an amateur, they achieve in line with the middle of the bell curve. So they're not the outliers. They're not super duper poor, and they're not super duper amazing, you know. So they're just sitting there in the middle, and they feel comfortable and confident that what they're doing is enough. Being average is enough, and they have an average efficiency. So they kind of fluctuate between a 50 to 70% work rate instead of a 70 and a 100% work rate, or 10% work rate. They're technical, so they understand how the job is done. So if they're explained it or they're trained, they get it, they understand how it's done. But what they fail to do is share and lead insights with others. You know, have you ever worked with someone that's like knows how to do something but doesn't really want to share that information? You know, it's a bit old school, but you know, it happens still, and it's probably more to do with the fact that they struggle to communicate that technical knowledge, or you know, they struggle to understand that, you know, amateurs do kind of hold it in and go, oh, I'm just good enough, but I don't want anyone to be better than me, so I better not share what I know. They struggle to communicate in lay terms. That is, they can't put that technical jargon into a way that somebody that doesn't understand it knows. So, you know, have you ever started a job and after work everyone's talking in their jargon, and you're the one that's new standing there going, oh, how do I break into this conversation? You know, this is a bit tricky, you know. A real professional person will probably say, hey, you probably don't understand all these X, Y, Z, A, B, C's we're talking about. They'll bring you into that conversation. They'll say, oh, you know, in lay terms, we're talking about the processor, or the hard drive, or the brain of the thing, or the, you know, these are the arms and legs, and this is the brain, and this is the head, and this is the heart of the machine. You know, to put things in another perspective, somebody understands and goes, oh, I get it. You know, that piece of equipment's like the CD player. That piece of equipment's like the, you know, the abacus. You know, it's putting things in lay terms really helps. So an amateur makes excuses. So instead of finding a way to do things, they find excuses instead. So this is the reverse of a Jim Rohn quote. You know, someone that really wants to do something finds a way. Someone that doesn't want to do it finds an excuse. So the amateur is that excuser. Some of those excuses are, I'm so busy. There's not enough time. We've all heard it. We've all said it. Especially that, not enough time. I can't apply myself to any more because I'm under the pump. It's like, if you really look at your day and look at times where you're probably wasting it, there's always time. And if there's not time, and you're one of those people that compresses your day with so much stuff, you could probably swap some stuff that's not as important for some stuff that maybe is more important towards developing your professionalism and your career. Untidy. So if someone's untidy, we might think straight away like the person with the messy desk that can't find anything, or the person with the poor filing system on the computer. They're parts of it, but why are they like that? Because they have an untidy process. They have an untidy approach to the way they go about their day to day. Do you start the day with a list of tasks that you want to do? Do you have a mental or written, you know, description of the way you like to file your work? Do you have a routine to your day, you know, or do you lack routine? And if you have an inconsistent performance, it's probably because you're untidy in your approach. You're kind of a little bit haphazard. So sometimes you luck upon things and you get a really good run at it, but other times you're like, I just can't get it together because I've got no real approach. I don't know what I'm doing. I spend more time trying to figure out where I am than where I am going, because you're so untidy in your approach. Amateurs are reactive. So if there's a ball coming at them, they haven't been watching what's happening, that somebody was about to throw it. They're just like, oh my God, it's coming at me. Put the hands in the air to stop it. You know, they're not going, he was throwing it at me, gonna grab it. The solutions are imagined after the problems arise. So if we think about this, you know, thinking back to artists or sports people, if an injury comes along, they become reactive and they say, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, I've got no plan here. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm going to have to quit. change positions or change approach or change tact now because I hadn't had a plan or I hadn't seen it coming that there was even any possibility that I was invincible and could get injured. Your boss throws you some feedback saying the project you've just done doesn't work, or the client has completely changed. You need to go solve that problem. Now you're the one that's like, oh my God, I'm panicking, I haven't got enough time, that's so quick, or we're the one that's kind of saw the writing on the wall and you noticed that in meetings that they weren't really confident with the way the project was heading and you were starting to work on something in the back burner, or you're just aware that things change and you're just like, all right, I'm going to stop and I'm going to take what I can out of what I have done and I'm going to start again, or I've got a solid template. So yeah, reactive people also have a defensive nature and they have a lack of clear vision. And once again, I'm a culprit of this. We're all a culprit of this. We're talking about understanding it and being aware of our weaknesses, our amateur traits, and working on them. Moving on to the acronym for professional. So a professional is proactive. They're respectful. They're on point. They're friendly. They're educated. They have the stamina for success, the stickability, and the commitment. They're individual in their approach or in their presentation. They're open. They are a good networker. They're applied, and they're loving. And that's a key to it all, that loving thing. Okay, let's have a look at proactive. Proactive people find solutions to problems that have not presented yet. So we talked about a reactive person. A proactive person is probably thinking day to day about the worst case scenarios or the potential weaknesses in their network or their links or their teams. I'm going to arrive 30 minutes early to this event setup because if one person doesn't show up, I'm ahead of the game. If I arrive 30 minutes late thinking, do you know what, we always allow an hour extra and two people don't show up, I'm reactive, right? So, that's consistent plan, that's a tidy approach, that's a system, and it's a proactive system. Proactive people are critical thinkers. They really look at a situation from a couple of angles and really understand how it is. They don't just blame or make excuses for that person didn't show up, so the job went badly. They said, what could have gone wrong? We probably didn't prep it enough. We probably didn't overcrew it enough. We probably didn't arrive early enough to account for that, to be able to book another person to get them there in time. A proactive person creates and controls their environment, and that's a very important thing to be able to do. If you can create and control your environment, there's going to be a lot less reactivity than the amateur we talked about earlier. A professional is respectful. Most of the time, most people are respectful. Sometimes, and I'm going to use some examples from my time in the live events industry where people get jobs, they get opportunities where they're getting paid, where they're technically professional, but they really lack a certain amount of respect, and I can only think back to some dance festivals that I would have done, and young up and coming DJs, and they've got a crowd and a following, and they're like so wrapped up in the hype of where they're at and what they're doing and their friends being there that they get super involved in it, but they don't really get involved in where they are and how they're behaving. So they throw their bags on our equipment and they leave drinks on their console and all over the stage after they're there. They don't really say hi and bye and thank you. So these are the small elements of respect that we're looking for in any industry. And I think the true professionals are like that. They rock up, they scan the area, they go, it's pretty clean, I'm going to leave it that way. I'm going to find out who's working here, who's doing the long, hard hours that I need to build a bit of rapport with. They say, g'day, how you going? They jump on stage, they ask questions. Even if they know what they're doing, they say, can I go up there? Can I do this? Where can I put my bag? Asking these key questions to build rapport and help themselves out, really, because they're going to get treated the best way possible. And I guess on the flip side, I do remember this clear event where I was at, and there was LTJ Bookham, a drum and bass DJ. You don't have to know him, but you just need to know that he was a good popular DJ. At this time, he probably wasn't at the peak of his career, but he was one of the headliners on the stage that day. his manager or partner, whoever he's traveling with, came up, said, "Hello, how you going?" We had a chat. LTJ Bookham comes up, says hi, we're sitting there chatting, talking, having a cigarette or whatever we're doing, and there's that real confidence that this is going to go well. He puts his bag down in an appropriate place, takes his drinks on and off stage. The place is as tidy after he left the stage as it was before. And that's part of that respect, and they say thank you. They really mean it as well, and you can tell. And this is because they have the ability to see things through the eyes of the others. They probably have met a rodeo tour that says, "Do you know what? It sucks when this happens, when people come along and trash the stage, and you've done 12, 15 hours before that, and the last thing you need to do is clean up after adult." And the last element of respect is respect the tools and the equipment and the industry processes. So don't come in thinking you know better and you've got the better tools, or you can just trash people's tools and leave them around and the equipment doesn't matter. Someone's bought that, someone's paid for it, somebody's kept it in good condition up until now. So don't come along and have disrespect and break things and break the rules and don't stick by the processes. Professionals are on point. They're consistently performing to a progressive industry standard or better. It's easy to find that industry standard. Go on YouTube, go into the leading industry peak bodies, go to networking events, understand what the best people are doing. For the creative industries and the music industry, it's easy. See the people that are selling, see the people that are winning, watch what they're doing, be on point with them, watch their preparation, watch their debriefing, watch their press conferences, watch their training videos, watch their YouTube channels, watch their Instagram feeds, and really understand how to be on point and how to be that way or better. So many examples of that. I'm not even going to begin to go into it because you can just go out there into the world and see what professionals are doing. Professionals are friendly. They go about their day with a smile and a genuine interest in people. Some of the biggest learning in the workplace happens around the water cooler or at the coffee station, because you're willing to stop, have a smile, ask someone how their day was or their weekend was, and build some rapport. And then you might start talking about work, and you might start generating ideas and plans and building your network a bit better. By being friendly, you create opportunities to connect on a deeper level. I find that in jobs that I've had or industries where you go away for work, so you're kind of living, breathing, sleeping, eating with everyone, two things are going to happen. You're going to realize you really don't like someone, or you build a rapport with someone because you've spent so much time with them. You've had beers at the pub, you've worked all day with them, and you've managed to not be at each other's throat, and you've probably found some more common interests outside of work, that the next time you work with them in the city or in the workplace where you're going home at the end of the day, you've got a closer connection with them because you were friendly with them. A professional is educated, they're well educated, and that's not just going to university and doing your one degree and then jumping into the field that you want to be in and thinking that's it, I'll learn the rest on the job. They seek to understand and keep up with industry advancement. So, you're reading articles and journals and keeping up to date with suppliers, information to understand where the industry's going. If it's going digital, are you digital ready? Do you need to get digital ready? Or is there going to be enough work in the analog world or in the manual world? Or is somebody else in your team getting up to scratch in that, So you need to understand that. You can do this by subscribing to industry bodies, journals, educational institutions, and networking events, and chatting to people that are the peak professionals in your industry. So the double S in professional is stamina for success. I have joined this together because stamina is one thing, success is another thing, but staying there, So reaching the top, great. Staying there, having that stamina to get there in the first place, and then to maintain that peak performance. We've all seen people have bursts of success in their careers, sporting, musical, the one-hit wonders, the one-album wonders, the sportsmen that had a standout year and then they fail the next year to even make the team. This is because they didn't have the stamina for success. This takes a passion and motivation and a stickability and a consistent approach. If you got there by doing something and you didn't take note of your consistent behaviors that year and didn't repeat them, how do you expect to get back there again? So this is by being smart, by setting specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely goals for yourself. So specific, I want to be in the top 10 performers in the competition this year, or I want to be in the top 10 concert revenue sales this year. It's measurable because people are taking statistics on that. There's voting, or there's financial records. It's achievable because last year you were in the top 50. It's realistic because you have the time, the money, the resources, the sponsors to help you get there. And it's timely because you've given yourself a year, and everyone else has the same time frame. Individual, be yourself. Now, that's not what you think you should be, or an individual like, oh, I'm a goth, or I'm a hippie, or I'm a really slick businessman because I have copied or mimicked people. Be yourself. Like, figure out who you are. What are you comfortable doing? What are you comfortable wearing? What are you comfortable saying? How are you comfortable acting? What are your values? What are your attitudes? What are your missions? And be a consistent version of that all the time, because people are going to identify and build rapport with that. If you love surfing, or you hate that people leave rubbish along the beach, make it clear to people that you love surfing, but you hate when you see rubbish on the beach, and, maybe start a little group of rubbish pickers. Bring your unique abilities and use them as an asset. And if you've got something from that individual part of yourself that's outside of your career that you can bring into the workplace, bring it there. If you're the captain of the team in sport and you're really good at it and you've taken teams to premierships, and you're not the captain of the team in the workplace, you need to make that clear, that you're a successful captain, you're a successful manager of people. So you've got to work this out. Professionals are open. They're always willing to listen, learn, and share. If you're a professional that wants to listen, if somebody's coming to talk to you and it's clear that they're coming to talk to you, stop, give them attention. Be open to letting them know that you're listening. Learn from it. If there's criticism, or if there's something that's coming left field that you want to just jump on and react to, stop. Take it as a learning experience. Everything's there to be learnt about, and share. So share your feedback, share your feelings and opinions. Don't cover it up. If something hurts you that someone was saying, or you feel like it's wrong or off center, share it, but share it in an open way. Don't be super critical. Professionals are great networkers. To be a great networker, you've got to get out and connect with others in your industry or field, and people in general. You connect with your industry professionals, people in your field, but you connect with other people because they can become customers. So you've got to get out there and actually talk to people, meet people, share with people what you're doing. These come in the form of sundowners, community groups, lunches, retreats, holidays, but just be doing things that align with your passions and your goals, or where people, places where the people that you want to have as customers or friends hang out, so that you're not wasting your time. Role swapping within your organization is also another good technique of networking and getting out there a bit more. They're applied. They can walk the walk, put the knowledge into practical use, and be positive and clear about what you want to achieve. So they take action, they apply their knowledge to their work or their career, and they're positive and clear about what they want to achieve. So they write things down, and they're setting targets on a daily basis. So they're applying on a daily basis. Loving, finally, having the love and passion for your job is so important. The enjoyment of your work becomes infectious to those around you. Have you ever worked with someone that just loves their job, and you can just tell it, and you walk away from that workplace and you're like, oh, it's such a breath of fresh air. And then you might go to other workplaces where everyone's a bit mopey and I don't like this, and don't do too much because you'll never get rewarded for it, like that kind of attitude. Which one's better? The loving one, that's better. And you care about people and mutually beneficial outcomes. So good sports people give other people that are having a bad day, get them into the game. Good workers get people into the game. They throw bits of work, and he was an important part of that project because I brought him into it, not just I'll do everything myself and stand out individually. Love what you do, love your job, have a passion for what you do, be loving. After all this, do you really want to become a great professional? Is it something you want? Are you thinking you're a little bit amateur and you want to be a great professional? Get in contact with me. you know, in the comments below, share what you're thinking. I'm happy to answer all your questions. My email's there, jnlightingtraining@gmail.com. And I'd love to hear what you think. And like I say, I want to turn this into a workshop or a course or somewhere where we can really analyze ourselves from where we were and where we want to go in a professional sense. So cheers. It's been lovely chatting with you, and I'll catch you soon. Bye.